Have you ever felt pride in owning dollars because of their dominance? But how long is it going to be that way? Is the US dollar in danger? Well, we have answers to all your questions and doubts. Watch the video to the end to learn more about the future of the US dollar. Hey guys, and welcome back to another fascinating episode of Value Add Guy. Today we'll be talking about the future of the US dollar and why the US dollar may be in danger. So, are you all ready? But before we move forward, don't forget to thumbs up the video. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the post notifications to not miss out on our future content. Now let us get right at it. We all know that the dollar is America's most powerful weapon. However, after over 80 years of dominance, the United States may be in danger of losing its role as the world's reserve currency. Around 60% of the $12.8 trillion in global currency reserves is currently sourced in dollars, giving the United States an unfair advantage over other nations. And that privilege pays off. Interest rates are lower on the US government debt backed by the currency because it is so appealing. The United States can borrow money from other countries in its own currency, so if the dollar falls in value, so does the debt. Businesses in the United States can conduct overseas transactions in dollars without incurring conversion fees. Perhaps most significantly, the US can cut off dollar access to central banks around the world in extreme situations, isolating and depleting their economies. Raghuram Rajan, the former governor of the Reserve Bank of India, described his authority as an economic weapon of mass destruction. However, you get the idea that is the power of dollars. But the question is, will it always be like that, or will the value decrease? After Russia invaded Ukraine in February, the US launched this weapon, freezing $630 billion in foreign exchange reserves and severely damaging the ruble's value. This allowed America to punish Russia without involving American soldiers in the conflict. However, great power comes with great responsibility. When you deploy a weapon of mass destruction, even if it's a financial one, people get terrified. Other countries diversify their assets away from the US dollar and into other currencies to evade the same fate as Russia. That's where the country's reputation as a reserve currency might be threatened. According to Michael Hartnett, the Bank of America strategist, weaponizing the currency might direct to corruption. He went on to say that the balkanization of global financial institutions is corrupting America's status as the reserve currency. According to a new study by the Foreign Monetary Fund, the dollar's ratio of international reserves has been plunging over the past 2 decades, roughly overlapping with the start of the US war on terror and other counter-terror sanctions. Since then, 1/4 of reserves have moved from the dollar to the Chinese yuan, while the other 3/4 have gone into smaller country currencies. Russia and China are likewise risking to influence the international system's future. Russian President Vladimir Putin threatened to halt gas deliveries to nations that do not create a Russian bank account and pay in rubles. The European Union obtains around 40% of its gas and 30% of its oil from Russia with no obvious alternatives. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is negotiating with Beijing to accept yuan instead of dollars as payment for Chinese oil supplies. Does that mean the king dollar is on the verge of being dethroned? Nothing is impossible if the previous 2 years have taught us anything. However, it is quite improbable that the United States would lose its obscene privilege. For one thing, the alternatives aren't that appealing. China has been promoting the yuan for years. Still, the currency accounts for just 3% of worldwide transactions compared to 40% of the dollar. The United States remains appealing to the rest of the world. The US stock market is the world's largest and most liquid, and international cash is pouring into the US according to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Global foreign direct investment flows increased by 77% to an anticipated $1.65 trillion in 2021. In contrast, investment in the United States increased by 114% to $323 billion. We can understand that politics is likely playing a key role in these movements, with ongoing trade spats between the United States and its partners. Furthermore, the Bank of Russia is currently purchasing gold at a set price of 5,000 rubles per gram, and the price will not change till June 30th. The ruble was trading at around 100 to the dollar before this announcement. However, as soon as the fixed gold rate was established, the ruble's value rose to 80.5 versus the greenback. According to the industry specialists, the ruble has now the upper hand over the US dollar in terms of gold. According to Layman, Putin is restoring the gold standard for national currencies, which would make new currency manipulation in New York and London problematic. It's a revolution, a paradigm change still masked by the Russian-Ukrainian conflict that forced it. The Western media will find the silver lining if the conflict ends and the cloud of gunfire is cleared. Every disadvantage has an advantage. Even if we cannot predict the US dollar's doom is imminent, we can see a movement away from the US currency. Both Russia and China have openly discussed long-term alternatives to the US dollar. Some central banks, notably Russia's, have said that they want to retain more foreign exchange reserves in other currencies. Chinese central bank governor Zhu Xiaochuan made headlines by suggesting that the dollar should be replaced in favor of a super sovereign reserve currency based on special drawing rights, the IMF's internal unit of account. Economists have taken the remarks as a move to give China's currency, the yuan, a larger role in global finance in line with the country's expanding worldwide prominence. Of course, none of this will happen overnight. On the other hand, China has voted with its wallet in the previous year. It discreetly arranged currency exchange agreements worth 650 billion yuan, approximately 95 billion US dollars, with central banks in Asia, Latin America, and Eastern Europe. It allowed importers to pay in yuan rather than dollars for Chinese products. This might pave the way for further yuan use in offshore banking and investment transactions, and it is a need if the currency is to gain international recognition. The seesaw first quarter of 2022 came to a close this week, with major market indices posting their worst results in 2 years' inflationary pressures. Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the Federal Reserve's accelerated rate hiking strategy posed various unusual hurdles for investors. Those difficulties will persist until the second quarter. The recent hurdles have created a mess. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has stunned markets across the globe. The geopolitical unrest has rippled through energy markets, commodities, and even food insecurity issues. According to Leonardo, the United States is presently dealing with an inflation crisis that it hasn't experienced in 40 years, and it's time to look to real assess as a hedge against inflation. This entails putting money into commodities, real estate, land, machinery, and natural resources, among other things. He claims that interest in real estate investing is growing. I'm not sure there's anything on the market right now that's hotter. Single-family and multi-family residences, computer centers, and cold storage facilities are all available. Look for firms that profit from inflationary rises while investing in the stock market. Banks make more money when interest rates increase and spreads widen. Low capital requirement companies are likewise a smart choice. According to Liz Annie Saunders, Managing Director and Chief Investment Strategist at Charles Schwab, the Federal Reserve will likely raise interest rates aggressively in the future. So in short, everything's going to mess up a bit. Every cone has a pro. Even if we cannot say that the demise of the US dollar is nearing, we can see that a shift away from the US dollar is occurring. Even if it is not fun, we got to be prepared. So that has been for the day. What do you guys think? Will the value of the dollar increase or decrease? Tell us about your opinions in the comments below. Before we wind up, don't forget to thumbs up, also subscribe to our channel and turn on the post notifications to not miss out on our future updates. Until the next video, goodbye.